All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to my podcast debut. I haven't given it a name yet, but it's going to be something like the 2024 conference is just a few weeks away, and we don't want you to miss out on our fabulous speakers. So I'm going to talk to the speakers this week. It might be a long name. We might have to work on it, but that's what we're calling it right now. So to my very first episode, I'm so excited to introduce our first set of guests who are with Reign Athletics and our featured speakers. We have Kaylee Eppolito, Jacob Parker, and Jordan Thomas. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning.
Excellent. So what I want to do is, before we get into this, but if somebody just decided they're going to start watching it and stop, I don't want you to stop. What I want you to understand is we're going to talk about in this the classes that our featured speakers are going to be presenting. You don't want to miss them. So if you are coming, this is a preview. If you haven't registered yet, you can still come. There are rooms, and anybody can get in a car and drive if you don't have some good deals on Southwest or whatever, but you might be able to get some last minute flights. So I'm begging you all not to stop. Before we get into the classes, so you might want to fast forward, however, I want to get into a little bit of Reign Athletics, how it started and whatnot. I have known Kaylee. I did the math, Kaylee. 17.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh my gosh.
Kaylee, it has been 17 years when you walked into that hotel in Berea, Ohio, where I held the conference.
Yep.
Fun fact, first time Kaylee got credentialed, I was her credentialing instructor.
You were.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I've known Kaylee. Kaylee, you were 23. 23.
Yeah. Well, you just gave away my age.
Well, yeah,
People
me,
do
I was,
math.
wait a minute, no, it gets better, Kaylee. I did the math on myself. I was 38 years old.
Wow.
So yes, I'm old. So
Yeah,
when you all
babies.
decide to do the math, 38 plus 17, that's how old I am, right? So why don't we, Kaylee, let's start with you. Let's just talk a little bit about where you started, where you came from, and then how Reign Athletics started. And I'm sure Jacob and Jordan are going to jump in as well, but just let's give a little overview of that.
Yeah, Amy, that's crazy. I cannot believe it's been 17 years. Whenever you said that was 2007, I guess. So
Yeah.
I started coaching All-Star in 2006. So that was my first year. I actually started coaching All-Star at Hot Cheer All-Stars in the Pittsburgh area. I was there for about 7 years. And that's where I met Jacob. A couple years in, I was a wee baby. He was also a wee baby. He was still in high school, and he came on as an athlete and a coach. Our last couple of years there at Hot Cheer, we made the transition in, Jacob, what year was that? 2012, I believe.
Yeah.
We made the transition to North Carolina. We decided to branch out and sort of spread our wings and get a new perspective on All-Star. So we went to Cheer Extreme in Charlotte. I was the All-Star director there for a year. It was a wonderful experience. Jacob also coached, and he was a member of Code Elite that year as well from Kernersville. So a really great experience, and really helped us to broaden our horizons. That another amazing thing that happened that year is we met Jordan. So that was, the three of us come together. It really was, fate had it to pull us all together and give us all sort of the same vision for what we saw coming up in All-Star cheerleading and what we wanted to create. And together, the three of us created Reign Athletics back in 2013.
Wow. It's funny how the universe, right, puts the right people in the right place at the right time to do it. And Kaylee,
Absolutely.
I remember our conversation before you went, right? Like you and I had conversations about, what your plan was, what you were going to do. You wanted to go and learn. You wanted to see what people did that was great, and also learn from maybe what you didn't want to do, right? In creating this program together. And I think there's this great synergy that happens when you've had these experiences together. And then, quite honestly,
Right.
being able to find people, right, that can come together. And so it's been, what, 11 years? I mean, are you going into your 10th season? Are you going to your 11th season? 10th
We're going into the
12.
12th season.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Listen,
I know.
you've lasted longer than some marriages.
This is true.
Right? Right? So
It's been rocky sometimes. We made it.
yeah, right. But it's a long time, right? And to be able to have kind of this vision and to build and to work together, that's done it. So tell me a little bit, one of you, about kind of like and this is, this wasn't part of what the producer put together for us in our questions, but kind of some baseline philosophies that help you, that from where you created and have helped you sustain, maybe some of your vision of what you wanted to do.
We wanted to teach kids that we were going to be the people that were going to do absolutely whatever it took. We weren't cool with excuses. We weren't cool with, saying that we had any limitations. Like, to us, when we opened, we were this really tiny gym, but that we had the world, and looking back on it, we had 30 kids in this rundown building with holes in the walls and snakes like everywhere. But to us, we had the world, and we really wanted our kids to feel that too. Like, you actually can do whatever, have whatever, and it doesn't matter, the resources that you have or where you come from or how much money you start with or how many kids you start with. And that's kind of been our philosophy from the start all the way up till now. 2 years ago, one of the teams Kaylee coached, their saying that year was, "Why not us?" And we really do kind of stick by that. It's got to be somebody. Why can't we be the greatest? Why can't we be the next up and coming gym? And we've stuck with that from 2013 all the way through now. And I think when you kind of remove the excuse, or when you remove this is what's holding us back, this is why we can't, then you just flourish. And we've really tried to make our kids live by that too. And I think that's why we've been successful as a gym, on the longevity side, but I also think it's why our teams are so great.
Yeah. So that's it. That's interesting, right? That's great. My question for you is, so you started with about 30, right? How many do you have either currently this season, end of last season, in your competitive programs?
Kaylee, do you want to dive into that?
Yes.
Kaylee's the numbers.
Yeah. So I love numbers. So my background is in computer engineering. So like they always laugh at me because I come up with this like spreadsheet with all of our numbers and retention, just because it if it fills that mathematical side of me that we don't really get too much in cheerleading. But so this is it's interesting because people often think we as a gym are this big gym. They often think, and we're proud that we present ourselves that way, that we present ourselves as a bigger gym. But in all actuality, we're very small. So last year, at the end of our season, elite kids, so not counting like our novice and our prep, elite kids last year, we had 106 kids. Mm-hmm. And this year we're very excited. We have grown a little bit. We're up to 149. So we have 149 elite kids for this season. We have 43 prep. We have 36 novice. So total we have between the three, we have about 228 this year.
So I already know the answer, right? So was it a scary jump for you when you knew you were going to go from 106 to 149? You're going from D2 to D1 now.
Right, officially. Yeah, it is funny because we most seasons we have technically qualified to be D2. We've never competed in D2. That was just a choice that we made for ourselves. But yeah, we basically qualified for D2 for so long. And I know it wasn't scary, honestly. I think if we would have made the jump back in like year 5, I think it would have been scary. But I do think that now we have a very strong understanding of who we are and who we want to be as a gym. And I think we've also gotten very good over the years at figuring out how to onboard new people. We are very clear in our communications at the beginning of the year in terms of what we expect and what you're getting when you sign up for RAIN. So whenever we bring people in, I think we're confident in explaining that and bringing people in. Also, our existing families are so great. They kind of do a lot of the work for us. Mm-hmm. Everybody really buys in at RAIN. So a lot of times our families kind of help us bring the new people in and get them ready, get them excited, and get them kind of understanding what RAIN is.
Right. Right. So really it's a growth issue and not a division issue for you, because have you always competed against D1 programs when given the option to do so?
Yep, we've always competed D1. So there's never been a time where we've ever checked that D2 box. It was nothing. I mean, both divisions are wonderful. It's just a personal choice that we made at the very beginning. Even with, I believe, year one, we had about 30 kids, and even when we had 30 kids, we always opted to be D1. As long as there was a split, that was always our choice.
Right, right. And do you think that's contributed to pushing your kids to perform a certain way, or talk about that just for a moment, maybe?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. So, by making that choice to compete at D1 from the very beginning, it's always put us in a position where, as coaches, we've had to make really smart decisions about what divisions we entered. What divisions made the most sense for us, where we felt like we could be successful. We're not going to enter a division where we know, we're just not going to stack up in that particular division. So we're very strategic, and we're very calculated in what divisions we do enter. And then once we're in those divisions, we do a lot of studying. We have our kids do a lot of studying. We're very upfront with our kids about what the expectation of that particular division is. And then we coach from there, and the kids understand, hey, if we want to be successful, we're going to compete against team X, team Y, and team Z, and they're fantastic, so we have to make sure that we're putting in the work, and, we're making the decisions that are going to help us stack up if that's what we want to do.
And making sure, honestly, that the kid, as much as possible, the kids and the parents, honestly, too, are just as educated as we are on the whole process all the way around. I know, it can be easy sometimes to, kind of segregate that, it's like, this is our job, this is theirs. But we do think in some light, it is healthy that everyone involved, whether if it's the athlete or, the paying customer is the parent, or whoever's going to be involved in the entire process, needs to know what's going on, so they have a better understanding of the decisions that are being made.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, and I'm going to go on that. But there are so many gym owners, right, that it's, hey, parents trust us, just parents trust us. Whereas I feel like you guys create, and this may go into one of your classes, so this may segue into one of the classes, and we'll just jump around. But it's this culture and environment that you create, right, where the parents are part of your ecosystem, right? Not just the pay.
A big thing to us is that we feel like the way that you really, and we do talk about this. This is our creating a committed culture class. One small part of that is we really believe that in order to create the culture that you want, the parents have to know you, like you, and trust you. And part of that is like what Jordan said. We are upfront about everything. Sometimes that's great, sometimes that's bad. It's not things that people always want to hear, but we're going to say it. We're going to be upfront and be like, look, this is what this is what this is. And, that might come from placement or where we're going division wise or whatever. But people have learned that they can rely on the words that we're saying. We're never going to try to sugarcoat anything. We're always going to be upfront. And we do contribute that to how great our culture is and how amazing our gym families are overall. Because we do think that they trust us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So listen, I am a full believer, and this is going to come as a shock to nobody, right? In being upfront and honest. Sometimes you have to take the sharp edges off your words, right? And sometimes they need sharp edges. So that but they can handle sharp edges when they trust you, right? And believe you and whatnot. All right. So let's jump into how the conference is going to go. So we're starting, so that everybody watching knows the conference itself is Friday and Saturday, but we had a huge calling for more skills classes. And we actually couldn't fit them into Thursday and Friday. So we added a Thursday. We call it a pre-conference. Our dance friends call it Masters Day, just because that's what they do. They bring in Masters instructors. And I do believe that we bring in the cheer equivalent to Masters instructors, right? Those people that really can feed the mind of some coaches who really want to learn from the best. So let's start with what your Thursday looks like. So I know you're going to work with the athletes in the morning.
Yeah, we're basically gonna run a 1.5 hour little practice. We're gonna do our warm-ups together. We're gonna teach some jump drills. We're gonna jump. We're going to go through some motion things. We're gonna condition a little bit, make sure everyone's wide awake at 8:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and really kind of, get their bodies moving to start the weekend, as we transition into the more class vibe of the weekend. We're excited to kind of share some of what we do, especially over the summer. A lot of times we don't have full teams. We can't stunt. We tumble too much. So we're basically
some core fundamentals of things that really everyone should probably be incorporating into every practice, whether that's level 1 through level 6, all age ranges as well. So.
Right. So in essence, our coaches in the afternoon are going to get the secret sauce of rain.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. I think that those coaches that really want to dive in. So in the morning, and that will be either episode 2 or episode 3 of the podcast, that still needs a refined name. We'll be talking to the tumbling instructors. So Rain with Kaylee, Jacob, and Jordan are going to be our skills hands-on with building. So coaches, you're not going to want to miss that. So then we get into Friday and Saturday. And I do know that on Friday, you are teaching 2 more building classes, correct?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Yes, we're going to be teaching a class for levels 1 through 3 transitions, and then also level 4 through 6 twisting transitions. And our plan, honestly, is to really go over a multitude of grips and technique that could, help you figure out what's going to be best for your kids or that specific team, and how to also do all of that safely.
Excellent. And then, so then they're going to transition into some other classes that I know are exciting them a lot. You guys are really excited about those classes. So we will have other building people there as well. But between Thursday afternoon and Friday's classes, that's where Rain is going to, our featured speakers from Rain are going to do their building. So now let's talk about some of these other classes. We can talk about them in any order you want. I do want you to save the one you're most excited about teaching last. Okay. So we'll talk about that one last, but let's go ahead and let's just talk through some of the classes that you're going to be, we'll preview them for everybody here that you'll be offering on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, so we're very excited. Whenever we knew we were going to have the opportunity to do this conference and speak, the 3 of us sat down and we were like, okay, how can we divvy up these classes and create some classes that we really think are going to be of value? And these were some of the things that we came up with, and we're super excited to work together. The 3 of us will be together in most of the classes, so we all bring something a little bit unique to each one of these topics. But the first class, or one of the classes we're going to be doing, we're calling it Setting Yourself Up for Success. And this class is really going to allow us to walk through an entire season, how we start the season, how we set up our teams, how we set up our team practices throughout the summer, and then sort of how that evolves into choreography season, and then how that evolves into competition season. So we're really going to walk through an entire season and give tips and sort of strategies that we use to help us create the most success for our teams. Jacob, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that was like nail on the head.
All right, another class.
Yeah. So the next one, and I'm gonna be very honest, this one's all Jacob. So we're going to be doing a pro shot class. So Jacob, if you want to take that one.
Yeah, I know that's not like a traditional one for a lot of conferences, but Pro Shop is something that I am super, super, super passionate about. And it's a great class for, not only like gym owners, but gym managers, anyone who's looking to, number one, brand their gym, to up the branding in their gym and really make their presence something that, people look and say, oh, that's Rain. People know who we are just by the clothing. And then on top of that, it's a great resource to, help offset costs. It's a great profitability option for smaller gyms, bigger gyms, anyone, so I'm so excited to dive into it. It's a 50-minute class and I'm going to be talking 84 miles an hour.
Well, but here's one of those things. So we talk about the different types of gym owners, right? So there are people that do this. This is their full-time job. They make a living doing it and whatnot. And then we've got people who they still have day jobs, right? But they do need to worry about the bottom line. They need a way to bring in extra money. They may not be able to offer classes throughout the day. They might not have the space to add anything extra. But if you want to add something to your bottom line, as you said, this may be a great way to do it. So so they'll hopefully they can keep up at your 84 miles an hour.
Right.
Right. All right.
And then from there, we're gonna talk a little bit on what we talked about earlier on, kind of how we established our culture of not having limitations and not being held back. That's a big one for us. And then I think probably one of the bigger ones that we're going to dive into is how we have made hitting zero so consistent for ourselves. I think that's probably the question that we get asked the most. And we're excited to share, which obviously no guarantees, but we're going to share our recipe for how we've kind of made that our niche.
Yeah, hitting zero. Listen, that's one of those, listen, if you hit zero, right, you have a better chance of walking away with a higher placement, right? But sometimes for some teams, hitting zero really just needs to be the goal, right? And you see progress as you go throughout the season. So if your only goal in life is to walk away with first place, you're setting yourself up to maybe not always be successful, right? But this hitting zero has become such an important thing. And quite honestly, we have Robin Galick, your regional director, right? She is always amazed with the hit zero and what you guys do and how you've done it. And I know she's had some great conversations with you guys about it, which is one of the reasons why, we decided to do this. We'll call it a podcast. It's just a video interview, but whatever, to have conversations, but knowing, and I mean, there are times, right, that you're this, I'm going to call it internet sensation, but that's, people notice, right? There's comments, people talk about it, people that are competition. If you sit back and you watch, right, as a parent, you don't know anything about scoring, whether you're from your gym or from another gym, when a team hits zero, you notice, right? The routine itself, it just looks better, right? So I think this is going to be great. And this is one of those things people try to come in and pick your minds about. And, and you guys are known for it, right? Anybody wants to sit in a room with Victor Rosario if he's going to talk about choreography, which will happen. You guys talking about hitting zero, I hope our room is big enough. Like, I'm going to have to go back and look to see what's at the same time and what room we have you in, right? To make sure that we're, that there's enough seats in the room so that everybody can do it. And I will tell you right now, I will not Facebook Live that one. There will be a couple classes I may Facebook Live. I'm not. If you want to hear these people talk about hitting zero and creating a culture, you're going to come to the meeting.
Come see us.
Right.
We're excited.
Right. All right. And then let me look at my little list here. All right. So let's talk about the last class, right? The one you're most excited about.
I wanted to touch on one other really quick thing.
Okay.
We also have a class that I think is going to be really beneficial for a lot of gym owners. Before we talk about that one, that's going to be our favorite. And we're doing a class on what we call our show teams. And that class is actually something, that's a class that it's something that's kind of new to us, but it's been really, really great. So we wanted to broaden our horizons. And a few years ago, we went to a conference, not a conference, I'm sorry. We went to a meeting with a business consultant who is dear to us. And she actually told us, she was looking at our website and things like that. And she said to us, if I wanted to bring my daughter to your gym or to cheerleading, I would never bring her to your gym. And we were, what do you mean? What are we doing wrong? And she said, you're advertising just for your elite kids. And my daughter's not there yet. So I wouldn't think just by looking at your website that this was the place for my daughter. And, we were happy for that feedback, but we were a little bit taken back. And so she actually gave us the idea to develop what we're calling show teams. And basically what it is, it's very introductory. And it's, I'll save some of the details for the conference, but it's a really cool way to get kids into the sport in a very, in a way that's not overwhelming for the parent or the athlete. And it also helps, it's really helped us grow our program. So we're very excited to talk about that one. And then Jacob, you want to talk about our favorite?
Yeah. So we're going to be kind of ending the weekend because we really want to, we've been to conferences and we know that they're intimidating and they're overwhelming. And, the first day everyone's kind of reserved and everyone's scared to put their hand in the air. So we kind of have taken the three of our experience and we really wanted to make a safe space for people, and we wanted to make sure everyone was comfortable. So it's super close to the end of the weekend, but we are literally going to make this the most least formal thing. I don't know if we're allowed, but we'll put the chairs back. We're going to clear the chairs from the room, push them to the sides. We'll all collaboratively bring them back together at the end, but we're all going to sit down on the floor together in a circle and we're just going to talk. It is going to be open forum Q&A. Ask us anything, ask other people in the circle anything. We want it to feel not like we're in a lecture. We don't want you to have that weird moment where, everyone in the room is sitting in their chair and you're standing up asking the question. We just want it to feel like this safe space where we can all learn and grow from each other. And we are so passionate about it. We're so excited for it. Like, I can't even tell you how many times that we've talked about it, just because it's something that we don't think has ever really been done in any cheerleading conference setting. So we really are kind of excited to, open that door and let people just talk and just ask and be free and be comfortable.
And share their authentic experiences with us and, and us all just kind of enrich in, this community that we all love. But yeah, I agree with both of them that I think, we're all going to get the most out of this if, we can create the most comfortable space possible for everyone.
Yeah, listen, it was, I've moved air walls in dresses. The hotel doesn't need to know. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But I loved when we got, so just so everybody knows, right, we have an idea, right? So after you won your second world championship, brought home your third globe, I said, they're going to need to come speak. They just need to come, right? There's just so much that people need to hear from and learn from you. And it's, there are speakers that we get all the time, right? That have been around, that have been seasoned, that have been with us forever. And I know you guys have spoken it up at other times, but these conversations, right, that we have with you, if I'm on the phone with you, Kaylee, or if Robin's on the phone with you, Jacob, like they're just these great conversations that shouldn't just happen between me and another person, right? Or Robin and another person. We want to share it with everybody. And I think that you guys are going to bring so much to the conference. And I know, listen, you don't toot your own horns. You don't like this. This is slightly uncomfortable, the gushing that I'm having right now with you, which is why Robin's not on here, because Robin is worse. So, we just really like when there are people who get it, right? Who have shown what putting the work in does, having a plan, having a culture, having all of these things, right? And it translates to success in a lot of ways. It translates to success on the floor. It translates to success inside the walls of your gym, putting that together. But the place is going to be most successful, right, are the lessons you're teaching those kids, right? So I don't want to tip everybody off on some of these conversations, right? But one of the conversations in here is about why you talk about life, right? And challenges with kids and having to learn to be adaptable, to being diverse, to accepting other people, to accepting assignments, and being a part of this team that not only has a goal, but has to work together in specific ways to reach the goal. So that being said, right, I'm going to leave it here, right? I do have, if nobody walks into the room with questions, right? There are some questions that will be asked that you will not answer right now, right? But some of the questions, like how did the hit queens come about? Is it just fun, or does it cause too much pressure on the kids, and how do you deal with it, right? Another question is, how is every team at every level so consistent? Like, how do you do it? Every level. Do the world's coaches coach all of the teams? And then how do you instill consistency in your coaching staff? We're not answering them here. I know where you'll get the answers, right? So hopefully we'll see everybody in Louisiana, in New Orleans, in a couple weeks. Thank you guys for taking the time out today to talk to me. And I hope that I get a bunch of subscribers to my new podcast.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.